All right, welcome back, traders. Hopefully, had a wonderful weekend. We had a pretty rough close there on Friday for the indices, and Bitcoin also taking a beating there. We couldn't even break above 94.6K last week. Yeah, pretty nasty rejection there. So it just, to me, just seems like we're gonna probably continue down here, folks. 86.7 is like the breakdown area here. We tagged the POC. We're in a bit of trouble, is what I'll say. Right, the weekly here crossing down on the stochastic. We were hoping we were going to get this cross up. That was going to take us probably back to the 200-day moving average. Does look like we're going to get that right now. We obviously are still in oversold territory, but it doesn't really matter so much with no confirmed buy signal. 2 week here also oversold, trying to also cross up. So I think later on this is going to probably play out once we do get that confirmation. It feels like to me that we're probably, once we do take out these zones, we're probably heading towards this $74,000 region. That's the only thing that makes sense to me if this continues down. Is there any hope? It looks pretty bearish right now. Okay, I mean, we haven't taken out this low, this $86,000 region just yet, but just let's take a look at the tether chart for example here. All right. So tether weekly candle, closing. It just looks like some bullish consolidation up here. We did get a counter trend signal, but this didn't really propagate any sort of follow through to the downside on tether. Right. Usually if you're going to get like a kind of a short signal, or this is a counter trend signal, it's not a confirmed, short signal by any means, but a counter trend region where you would see maybe a potential reversal. We have not fired that. I shouldn't say we have not fired. We have not seen follow through on it. That is what I'm trying to say. The RSI here sitting around 76, so obviously in bullish control zone overbought regions here on the weekly RSI, on the Heiken and She candles. So this gives you a little bit of a different reading than regular candles. Regular candles were sitting 68. And this is attempting to cross back up and not coming down to confirm a sell signal. So that's really bearish, actually. We were wanting to see something like this, where we get this follow through to the downside, and that gives us a sell signal, right? And so that's kind of what we're wanting to see, but we haven't seen that happen just yet. So that's problematic. We want to see this cross down for a relief rally, a retest of the daily 200-day moving average, which we typically do get even when we do go into bear markets for Bitcoin. So that's kind of what we're wanting to see. It doesn't help that the indices on Friday, took a pretty big hit. Right, we kind of look like we could not break this region on a clear candle close, and so now we have the sellers kind of taking over here and pushing the S&P down. No real edge here. Actually, this is also producing what looks to be the start of a sell signal here on the S&P 500, and the weekly did cross up, but the problem is this is now going to probably get rejected off the weekly bullish control zone if that daily kind of confirms to the downside, right? And the 2 week here is also, you know, confirming a sell signal, you know, below the 80 line on the 2 week. You know, we haven't seen you know, massive follow through on this just yet, but this could be materializing, right? We have lots of bearish divergence here. Yeah, we dump 20% every time the Bank of Japan hikes interest rates. That's something else to keep in mind, which they might be doing this week. So there you go. Gold still on its run. Nothing really bad to say about gold right now. It is obviously probably extremely overbought, but continuing to cross up, continuing to show bullish signals here on the 2 week time frame. And that probably goes across the board for all the metals. The metals are still extremely bullish. The dollar index we can take a look at. Actually, the dollar looks kind of weak in my opinion, which makes sense. You have the metals running right now, so you haven't taken out this this range low here at 97, which if the dollar is going to continue to come off, it's actually not a bad thing for risk assets. Okay, like if the dollar just started reversing here and, you know, breaking back into this region, that wouldn't be good at all to see something like that. But I don't think we're doing that just yet. In fact, if we close the year on this quarterly candle and we close back below like 97, we would probably confirm like a 3-bar down to the 93 region, which would actually break this completely down, and we would probably target this 90 region on the dollar index. Okay, hasn't happened just yet and may not happen. I'm just throwing something out there because if you look at like the quarterly, well, you can see that the bearish momentum is starting to increase here on the quarterly time frame. The 6-month time frame also doesn't really look too bullish. Right, this 6-month candle, massive bearish engulfing candle, and you got like 17 days left here on the next 6-month close. Go to the yearly chart, you can see. Yeah, a yearly bearish engulfing candle here that's being printed right this very moment on the dollar. But yeah, haven't taken this region out just yet. Maybe next year it does. And it kind of suggests that it might. If you look at the yearly stochastics here, this is giving a cross down. Obviously, no confirmation just yet on that, but you know, I mean, usually when you're up here, these are zones where you would think you would see continuation to the downside on something like the dollar here. Yeah, but we'll see here soon. You could also see that the MACD looks like it's also rolling over or about to roll over here. So that's something to keep in mind, that the dollar over the next year might continue down. Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll continue to monitor how this goes. All right. But yeah, short term, everything right now looks not the best. And we are still, you know, at a kind of a range high here on the tether chart. We haven't put in new highs on the tether chart just yet, but you can see that we're trying to round out this bottom here, and you know, this to me looks like you're gonna probably do something like that. And I don't really see how any of the crypto assets are gonna really perform if something like that is going to occur. Because if you have like if you look at like the quarterly chart, for example, which kind of gives you a higher time frame viewpoint of what's maybe happening here. Yeah, I mean, look, you got the quarterly stochastics crossing up. They haven't crossed above the 20 line yet, but your 2-month is looking also like it's going to do that. The monthly here already gave you this signal back in what looks like to be like February. It started giving you the signal, but the continuation signal here was October, right? Yeah, I mean, entering into overbought territories on the monthly, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's just done. It can continue because you have the 2 month that's going to propagate across up here by the end of this year. And so, you know, we're going to see. I mean, we're going to probably get some relief somewhere in here. It's not just going to continue to blow through all these levels without, you know, a retracement of sorts. That's just not how markets work. But for the moment, we're coming into this major level of resistance here. We really want to see this actually get rejected. That would be good, but you can see this is kind of like flagging up here. And if this breaks, and it's probably doing something like that eventually up to the tops of these ranges here. This to me just looks like a big accumulation schematic. But yeah, pay attention to the volume. Because like if the volume is dropping off here, that means we could see this actually kind of go down, and that would actually be good for crypto assets here. That's pretty much what I'm seeing right now. And what are you guys seeing? I am seeing a little bit of this money flow coming down, which is good. The weekly, not so much, pivoting right here. That's not good. 2 week and extreme levels on the money flow, though. Yeah, so I think we're not so far away from. I mean, almost every single time we had a 2 week money flow that was at extreme levels like this, we would see Tether come down, and we were very extreme levels up here in 2017 regions. Yeah, like I said, I think we ultimately do go up to test that region, as we've done in previous, bear markets or whatever you want to call it. I mean, you want to call it, if you don't want to call it a bear market, it's fine. But what I'm saying is we're technically in one because we've broken below the 50-week moving average. Whether this lasts an entire year, whether it lasts a few more months, like the only thing that's really gonna clue us in on that is like the weekly and the 2 week giving us buy signals and the monthly resetting. And you know what I would really look for on Bitcoin is look at this trend line like this. All right, so these were the bottoms, and so far, these were the tops. Okay, we blew through it here. This was a blow off top. This was 2021's blow off top. We didn't get a blow off top this cycle. You can clearly see that we didn't get one. We all know that we didn't get one. All right, and so what I would be really looking for is either we come to a lower low on the RSI with a higher low on price, so we get that bullish divergence later on, okay, and eventually we do something like that. I would actually have this kind of plotted on your chart, in anywhere in this neutral zone to maybe even into the bearish control zone on the RSI is probably going to be a phenomenal buying opportunity later on. You can also use the weekly as your gauge too when it becomes extremely oversold, which we're almost actually there. So I don't think we're maybe that far away from a potential low. But it could take some more time, right? We're probably going to get this this bounce here to like 102K is what I'm thinking we're going to get. And we'll make like maybe a head and shoulders pattern with a slanted neckline, and then we break it. And then we do something like this where we kind of peter out here into like the 50, 60 territory, maybe even down to this 50 territory. I think that's probably going to be a target area. You have this POC here around, like, I would say between this 40 and 50K region. These are going to be regions that are going to be regions to look at. I don't see, unless something catastrophic happens, I don't see Bitcoin going back to, this region down here. I think that would be a little bit too drastic for the amount of capital that's already involved in this market, and that's potentially flooding into it on these dips. And the 200-week moving average is somewhere around $50-some thousand right now. So give or take some range deviation off that, I think that's going to be where we end up. We can look at like the monthly Gaussian too, because that's pretty good. So the monthly median Gaussian, which is where we bottomed previously, is right around 40K. All right. Now I know everyone thinks that's a crazy number or target or something, but it's where I think that's a possible scenario. And this 50K region you can see is a pretty high volume region too. All right. So somewhere in there. It's tough to be like, hey man, this is for sure going to be the low. I can't say that for sure. No clue. In terms of that. But yeah, so this major level, these two major levels of support are going to, looks like they're going to be tagged at some point here. We just have to be patient. There's no real edge on these charts right now. That I see. So this is interesting. If you take the trend line from the 2011 top and you kind of run it through the previous regions here, you can see it act as support. It didn't quite get down to here during the COVID low, but then this bottom here was basically acting as support, and we're kind of tagging into it right now. So this is kind of where we were thinking that we would see this bounce. But we'll see. This is the problem, guys. This is the MACD on the monthly crossing down like that. The 2021 cycle, we had this bearish divergence. This was the second high that we made. All right, and here we just kind of rolled over. So yeah, we're definitely due for some sort of bounce. We'll see when we get it. We'll see when we get it. We're so far kind of stuck in this $80,000 to $94,000 region right now, and yeah, you can clearly see every single time we've come up to the weekly Gaussian channel median line, we've rejected it, and we're kind of just bear flagging down here right now. That's it. So that's all I got for Bitcoin right now. Hopefully we see some sort of relief in these markets here shortly. I think we should. If we can get above 95, we have a really good chance to test 100,000 here. And yeah, so the other thing to pay attention to is the 5-day Gaussian channel hasn't flipped red just yet. And if we go look at the last kind of bear market, as soon as it starts to flip red is when we really get capitulation events, okay? And we haven't done that just yet. So I don't think Bitcoin is just going to start just crashing out of nowhere right now. Unless the S&P just starts dumping and everything just starts going down. I mean, like, anything can trigger it, okay? It's already like sitting on a cliff right now. But we did get, it looks like we did get a 5-day signal here. All right. That looks like it's trying to confirm right now, or is confirming on the 5-day chart. But what's weak here is the money flow. Do you guys see this? How this looks like very kind of bearish, where it's just kind of fluttering up and down, but in the red zone here on the money flow. And so that's kind of the sentiment right now, is that's what it's displaying. It's displaying some bad price action. And we kind of just got to trade what the market is telling us versus what we want to see out of the market, right? And you think it's resembling the 2019 cycle? Yeah, that's probably similar, because we were in a quantitative tightening environment during that cycle. The problem is I will say the difference is that we made new all-time highs with Bitcoin. In the 2019 run up here, we didn't make new all-time highs. This actually was a falling wedge, or actually the retracement or the recovery for Bitcoin out of this bear market. And then we downtrended here and we made this retest. Obviously, it was a black swan event. That was the COVID event. So I think it's very different in terms of the structure. And it's different timing wise in kind of the cycle, right? If we're looking at cycles. But in terms of, monetary policy, yeah, we were in a quantitative tightening environment there as well. And it ended. I think the QT actually ended somewhere over here, right? I think it was in September of 2019 is when quantitative tightening actually ended. We also did have ETF inflows. Yeah. You know what? That's an interesting. I want to see actually when that was. So if we look at the Fed balance sheet, we can actually see when quantitative tightening and easing actually ended and or started. Let's go to the weekly. All right, so you can see. Well, it looks like QT probably ended before they started printing money, right? There's typically a window where they stop quantitative tightening and quantitative easing is like starting, but like they don't just start printing money like that. This was obviously right here. Yeah, September of 2019 is when I got the signal that the Fed started adding to the balance sheet. So there you go. That was 6 months before COVID happened. So if they just started buying T-bills now, maybe in, 6 months is when they're going to start the real QE, right? So we could be having about 6 months of maybe drawdown. If this is similar by any means, I don't know. But that could be, right? We'll see how that goes. Yeah, and so, but we haven't really seen the Fed balance sheet go up yet. So they're not buying anything but Treasury bills right now. So we'll see how that kind of goes. But typically they wait for something to break before they just step in and, print the money like that. Although we know that they're in a spot where they need to refinance all this debt. So we know it's coming and it has to happen this year. So it's just a matter of when. All right. just some sort of pattern that, you know, we can see here when they stop quantitative tightening. It looks like we have some room on this trend line here to go down, perhaps, before something like that happens, right? And that might put you sometime in August. I don't know how long it's going to take. It could just start going now. I mean, they could just start adding to the sheet now. It doesn't have to go there, but we'll see. Yeah, anything else? Any assets you guys want to look at right now? Yeah, I mean, that's if we're following a 4-year cycle, which we don't know if we don't know if we, I mean, I don't want to say that we are necessarily, because it may not take a full year for that bottom to form. It may also not do the normal things that it does, but certainly appears that way right now. Right. TE. Is this a minor or something? Okay, it's a energy. Yeah, we can look at GRT. Right, so TE looks like it's coming into resistance here, but look at that volume coming in. Yeah, I mean, once you start taking out $7, looks like you got $9.90s, $10 on deck, and $15 after that. But yeah, just be mindful of this bearish divergence you got going on right here on the weekly. It's getting up there. But money flow looks good. Everything still looks pretty good. Watch the bubble risk indicator. You can see things are starting to heat up on this thing. All right. Not saying it's going to just dump right here, but just be mindful of where you're at on this chart. This asset, it looks like, has already gotten a nice appreciation from this low. It's up 655%. Pretty significant. Yeah, we'll look at GRT. Is a stock or that's a crypto? You're talking about the crypto GRT? No, the best thing to look at is actually just the market cap chart. Market cap chart is coming into the range low from, well, 2022 lows. And yeah, that weekly RSI is pretty oversold on the market cap chart. If we looked at just like the asset itself, sure, it's oh, there you go. It's actually making new lows on price. But yeah, again, you know, very oversold. On the weekly, it's oversold. 2-week is getting to the regions of oversold, but you can obviously tell that it's not so good, just breaking ranges and stuff. So if you continue down in price discovery to the downside, it looks like maybe that 1.8 region, just using some Fibonacci extensions here, 1.8 cents. You know, the golden mean ratio is down here at looks like close to a half a penny. You know, watch these regions. If you're really wanting to accumulate GRT, that's going to be a really cheap place to do it. Anything else you guys want to look at? So I was actually looking at, I know the AI bubble here is kind of shoddy right now with NVIDIA looking like it wants to come down a bunch. But this is interesting to me. So C3 AI giving us the weekly signal with a bit of bullish divergence. We'll look at iron, yeah. Now you got like 3 drives of divergence here. That to me is, we're pretty close to this range low too. I'm not saying that this is just going to just rip back up in here. I don't know. But if it does start to reclaim this region and you get some bids that come in here, you got some nice upside potential on this. Okay. You can definitely see that this is on a demand line here from this pullback, and you can also see maybe you got what looks to be a harmonic in development, but you need to see a reaction. You need to see a reaction here, and you need to get a retest. Okay, so we need to see a reaction rally here and then the retest. That would be a really good confirmation to take this kind of long-term trade setup that I'm looking at right now on this. But yeah, it might just continue on down. You can see the monthly though is starting to maybe curl around here, and it hasn't done so just yet, but you can see it's in the oversold territory. And this is, these are the regions where you really want to be paying attention to these, to really any asset. When it starts to be oversold like that, you could get some nice trades out of it. Even if you're not going to long-term hold to something like this and you want to scalp a range, or you want to, swing trade it for a bit, right? I mean, that's kind of what I'm paying attention to on this. We'll look at iron. Yeah, sure. So iron, I think, is okay. You made this top here. I think maybe you come back down to retest your breakout region. The other thing you can do for iron is look at this long-term trend line. I'm not saying you're going to get there right now, but if you ever do, and this asset remains to be a strong asset, and let's just say it does something like this, maybe it comes down to $20 and you get this next leg or something. I don't know what it's going to do, but like maybe it does something like that because it looks like it's in a nice bullish trend. So maybe it even holds where it's at. How's that weekly looking on it? The weekly looks like it's, resetting on the weekly, the 2-week. The 2-week coming into the bullish control zone. If that weekly starts to reverse here and then the 2-week can flip long again, then, well, maybe you're at the local low for now. But to me, when you're getting like the 2-week cross down here, it's probably got some more downside to come, right? And the money flow up here is very, very extended on the money flow. It's in extreme levels. I would also look for this money flow index kind of retesting this trend line here. Yeah. Yep. I think downside on this looks about right. With the indices and everything kind of looking like they want to pull back right now and not just continue higher, right? So, yeah, just keep that in mind. Something like, I don't know, Zoom. Oh, maybe this is a bad example, but like, okay, Zoom coming into a range high here, but look at the difference, where you're at on the chart, right? Like you're a lot lower risk levels than you are with, something like iron, right? Like this hasn't even technically put in its confirmed bottom yet. It hasn't gotten above the 100, the 236 fib extension from its swing high to low. So, but yeah, to me, like, Zoom looks like a cup and handle. Like this could maybe go back up to $140 here in time. for example. I was looking at maybe some pharmaceutical companies here. So like this one, I don't even know. This is yeah, I mean, whatever. This looks decent. This looks like, and you can see that this is putting in a nice a nice structure here, right? You have this bottom formation that it put in. We got this nice rally, came back down, made a higher low, and is now breaking this range. Here's your cup with handle, right? So, you know, something like this, you could see this going back to like maybe $16 in time. Right, so that's, to me, that looks low risk, or lower risk than something like iron. Rivian put in a nice candle the other day. Rivian also looks like it's trying to, you know, break out of this accumulation structure that it's in. You know, longer term, I think that that's going to probably do something like that. You know, I'm looking at Enphase Energy also. We talked about, I think, this last stream. This thing still hasn't, you know, shown me that it's bottomed out just yet. But then you look at like the monthly chart. I mean, that's about as in the zone as you're going to get on the monthly, right? As to buy something. Okay, yeah, maybe the 2-month has some room to come down a bit, but like this thing could start reversing here any moment, the next few weeks, few months. Given the market just doesn't, you know, crap itself or whatever. But yeah, like this is where you would want to see these reversals come in for something like this. Fuel cell, we've talked about this many times. We gave the entry at like $5 a share on this. Okay, it hasn't done too much just yet from that call, and also, you know, it's still trying to break this $10 region. You know, on the monthly and the 2-month chart here, but you can see that it's consolidating right beneath it with a lot of trading volume coming in to this region here. I see a lot of trading volume. It's not really doing that much volume right now, but I would pay attention to this $10 region. Once you start taking that out, you have lots of upside, probably to about that $32 region on something like fuel cell. Okay. Yeah, anything else you guys want to look at? I'm just going through some of the iterations I always go through on these streams, where I try to give you guys a little bit of education and what I see on the charts and how maybe something might play out. Moderna also, you know, looking like it wants to round out its bottom down here. You could see that monthly RSI curling around there, like it was kind of curling up top here. It's kind of curling around here. Right? So this was top, and then, well, is this the bottom? And so that's kind of what I'm alluding to here. This could be Moderna's low coming in down here. And let's look at ETH real quick. So, yeah. Yeah, so ETH tried to rally the other day, tagged into this $3,400 region when Bitcoin tried to rally. We actually did close a green weekly candle. I mean, long wick. That's not a really good candle there for ETH. But still closed green. Just a very long wick. I'm not really a big fan of that candle there on ETH. And it kind of looks like it's maybe going to do something like that if Bitcoin and everything else kind of, you know, rolls over with it. But you can see that the turn in the band here is giving that sell pressure to the downside, kind of like we had here, where we got this move down, and then we found a bottom and got above it, used it as support, and then we rallied above it for some time, and now we've kind of just broke through it again. So now we're waiting for the next kind of low for ETH here, is what we're waiting on. And so we're trying to gather some momentum here on the weekly. It looks, I think, stronger than Bitcoin. The 2-week time frame here also still coming down. 3-week coming into bullish control zone territories. We really want to see ETH start to maybe reverse its price action here if we want to see continued upside, right? And so that's kind of what we're paying attention to there on ETH. Solana, I think, is a lot weaker than ETH right now. Yeah, Solana is, just is kind of struggling here at the bottom of its range. You could see that it's just sitting at the bottom of this range right now, but no real buying pressure coming in right at this moment. There's no real buying pressure coming in across the board right now. And that seems to be the problem, right? Right. Well, that's pretty much what I got for this evening. If you guys have any other tickers, please drop them in the chat, and we will try to cover them. All right. Well, anything else you guys want to look at tonight before I jump? Catch you guys next week if not. All right, flap. Yep. Thanks, guys. Yep. Y'all have a nice week. And we'll see you guys next week. Hopefully we maybe see some sort of bounce in these markets here. That'd be great to see. If not, we kind of know what to expect, right? It's not like something we haven't discussed already. All right. Catch you guys next week.
Hey everyone, you've landed on the Swing Trade Pros website here. My name is Mr. Know-It-All. I've been an active swing trader for over 7 years. I want to welcome you guys all to the community here. My goal is to change 1 million people's lives with swing trading and trading profitably. This is a skill set you can learn here with the service. Go check out the testimonials in Discord. You can see lots of folks talking about the service and how the trade calls are super profitable. You can check Profit Gains channel. I think we've amassed around $150,000 worth of profits in the last year posted in the Profit Gains channel just from other users and traders in the community. I'd like all of you guys to check out the 14-day free trial. A coupon code will be pinned in the comments section below this video, so check it out. And we'll take you through 14-day free trial process here. You come down to the website, save 44%, and claim your 14-day free trial. Click on that. And that will take you to the Swing Trade Pros website where you can click sign up now. And after your 14-day free trial is up, on the 15th day, you will get billed, full disclosure of that. And I appreciate you guys all joining the community. It will change your lives. Give it a chance. A lot of these swing trades can take months. One of our biggest trades of the year last year was INJ. We took an entry at $1.60, and well, that asset's trading over $35 today. So that was one of the banger trades that I pointed out. My strongest pattern that I trade that I'm known for is the falling wedge. I call it the falling node wedge pattern. Lots of divergence on these charts, and that's what makes these patterns really play out. And you guys are going to be able to really learn that in the service, and I really hope you enjoy it. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you guys on the charts.